What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, bringing you guys our Week 9 team builder for PGL, the Pokemon Global League. Your Detroit Type Nulls are taking on Coach Gearhart and the Seattle Staraptors. And I just want to say, there's been a lot of Seattle battles recently. We battled the Seattle Smeargles last week in PGL. We battled the Seattle Sea Kings last week in NPA. And this week we're battling the Seattle Staraptors in PGL. So if you guys are excited, show us some love on that like button down below. Of course, if you guys are new, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I'll be sure to link Gearhart's channel in the description of this video so you guys can go check out his team builder, his battle, all that fun stuff. This is a very much a grudge match for me, I suppose. Last time Gearhart and I played in PGL, it came down to just some insane stuff. It was an insane match, super close, and I'm looking for revenge this week. So I believe we have the team to do just that. Let's talk a little bit about Gearhart's team here really quickly. You guys see it above the screen. He has the Mega Manectric, a super fast Pokemon, 135 base speed. It before Mega Evolution does have the Lightning Rod ability, giving it a special attack raise for electric type moves, and also that does grant it an immunity as well. After Mega Evolution, it does have the Intimidate ability. Can run some cool coverage moves like Signal Beam and Overheat, Tech Hidden Powers, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. He can also run Thunder because pairing with his team, he does have the Pelipper, which is a notorious rain setter. Pretty bulky defensive bird, actually. It's got a base 100 defense. It's water flying type, so it does carry the 4 times weakness to water, or excuse me, to electric type moves. But pairing that with something like the Mega Manectric, which has Lightning Rod, which gives it immunity, and other Pokemon on his team, it does give him a little bit of some leeway with that weakness. Not too fast, base 65 speed. It can be a defogger. It gets pivot in U-turn. It can fire off hurricanes and scalds in the rain, which is actually really cool because it does boost the accuracy of its own stab Hurricane, which is a base 110 flying type move, which is absolutely terrifying if I'm being completely honest. So I don't know if the Pelipper will show up. I do expect the Mamoswine to show up. That is the next Pokemon he has on his team. Hits so very hard, 130 attack, 80 base speed. It has the Thick Fat ability, which gives it, which makes so the weakness to fire and ice that it has no longer existent. So it takes fire and ice type moves pretty well. It can be a good stealth rock setter. It has access to knockoff. It has access to Earthquake, Ice Priority, and Ice Shard, Icicle Crash. If he wants to go the way of popping maybe a resistance berry on something, he can go with like Icicle Spear, just so the first hit takes care of the berry, and then the rest of the hits will do damage after that. Superpower, Stone Edge, fun stuff like that. He has the Mimikyu, Ghost Fairy type Pokemon with the Disguise ability. Great special defense with 105 base special defense, 90 base attack, 96 base speed. Typically you see this thing with like a Swords Dance set, the Disguise ability obviously giving it like a built-in focus sash. So it can go for Swords Dance and go for things like Play Rough, Shadow Claw, all that business. So definitely a scary Pokemon. He has the Lucario, Steel Fighting type Pokemon, 110 attack, 115 special attack, 90 base speed. I could definitely see the Lucario showing up. It does a fantastic work against my team. It is one of his Z captains on the team. It can set up with things like Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, Agility. It has priority in Extreme Speed, Bullet Punch, Vacuum Wave. I mean, it's such a really cool Pokemon. Does have some niche coverage moves with things like Ice Punch, Crunch. Can go special with things like Flash Cannon and Aura Sphere. Can go physical with things like Iron Head. Got access to Meteor Mash now. Close combat, all that fun stuff. He's got the Skarmory, another steel type Pokemon, which is a lot more physically defensive, 140 base defense. Really solid hazard setter. I love Skarmory in League format. It can set up rocks, can set up spikes, it can defog, it can Brave Bird, it can Whirlwind, it can Roost, it has its own recovery. It's a pretty, I feel like a little bit more passive of a Pokemon, but I do think Skarmory could show up this week as well, just because hazards really do wear down my team after a bit. But yeah, I really do like Skarmory. I really do think it'll show up. He has the Noivern, a flying and dragon type Pokemon with 123 base speed. It's his other Z user. Hits really hard with a 97 base special attack. It has the abilities Frisk, Infiltrator, or Telepathy. Frisk and Infiltrator being the two that he would bring. I imagine perhaps an Infiltrator set on the Noivern. I don't think Frisk is too advantageous for him, but he could just bring it, and if that's the case, then that makes it easier for some of our Pokemon because he won't have Infiltrator. But can 8 Harbor Draco Meteors, can U-turn around, has access to coverage moves like Flamethrower and Hurricane, especially in the rain. And then being able to Boom Burst and pivot with U-turn as well. Serena, pure grass type Pokemon. It has the Queenly Majesty ability, making it so priority moves do not affect this Pokemon. It's a great rapid spinner. It can set up screens. It can U-turn. It has access to its signature move Trop Kick, which lowers the attack stage by 1 on the Pokemon that it hits. High Jump Kick, Play Rough. It does get Power Up now in Ultra Sun and Moon. He has Skuntank, Poison and Dark type, good Defogger, Pursuit Trapper, Sucker Puncher, things like that. Skuntank could definitely show up. I definitely would say Skuntank could show up with something like something like Victini lying around that we do have, or the Cresselia as well. So Skuntank could definitely show up, more offensive set, but good coverage on either the physical or the special side. He's got the Delphox as Pokemon that I am also worried about. His team's really good. I love his team. Delphox, Fire Psychic type Pokemon with the Blaze, or more notably the Magician ability. So if he goes for like a Power Herb Solar Beam, he then steals my item with Magician, which is absolutely fantastic for him. But hits really hard with 114 base special attack, has a variety of coverage moves as well. The Kabutops is another Pokemon I have to worry about if he does bring the Pelipper. Has the Swift Swim, which doubles its speed in the rain, making it so it hits about 290, which really sucks because I don't have too much for Kabutops. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But can set up with Swords Dance, Knockoff, Priority and Aqua Jet, Earthquake, Superpower, Liquidation as well. It's just a very, very unfun Pokemon to deal with. As far as hazard setters go, he has 3 Rockers in the form of Mamoswine, Skarmory, and Kabutops. Spiker in the form of Skarmory. He does have no, I don't believe Skuntank gets Toxic Spikes, but that is something to note just in case. I've got the Nidoqueen, as you guys can see, so I'm not too worried about that. He has 2 Rapid Spinners in the form of Kabutops and Serena, 2 Defoggers in the form of Pelipper and Skuntank. And to my knowledge, I think Serena gets a clerical move. If not, you know, I don't know if Serena will pack that if he does bring it. If I were to guess the 6 he's bringing right now, I would say I'm certain Skuntank is coming. I would say the Lucario. I would also say the Mamoswine. Maybe some sort of maybe Skarmory shows up. I think Skarmory could definitely take a hit or two. The Mega Manectric has value, I feel like, just being able to outpace a lot of my team, and that Intimidate is also very nice. And then if I were to say one last Pokemon, perhaps the Serena. So I'm going to say if for his 6 that I would say he would bring, I would definitely say Skuntank shows up. I would also say Lucario has to show up. Mamoswine just hits really hard on any team. Skarmory could show up as well if he does bring the Rain. Pelipper with Skarmory and Rain is just really, really good. Mega Manectric just based off of its speed tier, and then the Serena as sort of like a sponge for some of my other Pokemon to take, being able to provide other hazard control outside of Skarmory. So let's talk a little bit about our team right here. First up, we are bringing Choice Scarf, Magnezone, Ferris with the Magnet Pull ability, Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and Hidden Power Ground, 16 HP, 252 special attack, and 196 in speed with a timid nature. With this, we are outspeeding timid Delphox on his team. I cannot outspeed Noivern, and I cannot outspeed the Mega Manectric. So the next fastest Pokemon I could outspeed on the team was his Delphox. Flash Cannon hits the Mega Manectric. Flash Cannon hits the Mimikyu. Flash Cannon, I believe, also hits the Kabutops, but I do have Thunderbolt and Volt Switch for that. Thunderbolt and Volt Switch hit the Pelipper. Flash Cannon also hits the Mamoswine. There we go. Thunderbolt and Volt Switch hit the Skarmory. Thunderbolt and Volt Switch hit the Noivern. It's a neutral hit. Thunderbolt and Volt Switch both hit the Kabutops. Hidden Power Ground is super effective damage against Mega Manectric, against the Lucario, against the Skuntank, against the Delphox. So that is the good coverage for that. Provided he brings either of his Steel types, I would imagine they would be something like Shed Shell. If not, you know, Lucario can obviously be faster than us if he's Scarfed. If he brings Lucario, I kind of want to say it's going to be a Scarf set. Just looking at my team, just being able to turn around and bop something like Magnezone. So I might not stay in with my Magnezone on the Lucario, just because, like a Scarf close combat, I don't take that very well at all. So that's just my thoughts on that. But yeah, we do outspeed everything that we can outspeed with a Scarf, which is really cool. Dual Stab really does good against his team, and then the Hidden Power coverage of Hidden Power Ground does help out with the things that our Dual Stab doesn't take care of. Next up here, we have Luna, the Cresselia, with the Leftovers, the Levitate ability, Moonlight Psychic, HP Fire, and Shadow Ball. Max HP, 96 in defense, 28 special attack, 132 special defense with a Calm Nature. So what this does, let me just bring it up really quickly here, because I know I talked about this. I know I talked about this Cresselia set. Where we at? It's count. I believe we are 3-hit KO'd by Thunder, if I'm not mistaken, just with this bulk. Let me. I know it's around here somewhere. Where did I put it? I will find it. There we go. Okay, so because of Mega Manectric speeds here, he can run Modest. So this amount of bulk investments, either he has super effective coverage in the Signal Beam, or he has the Rain Up and he goes for Thunder. We are 4-hit KO'd by Modest, Thunder, by Mega Manectric, and Signal Beam as well. Other special attackers on his team, including things like Pelipper, including things like Special Lucario, including things like Delphox. We do sponge those hits a little bit more nicely as well. Physical attackers, so like if Mamoswine has knockoff, that hurts. If Lucario has crunch, that hurts. And then Kabutops with the knockoff, that also hurts. And our coverage moves are there. Psychic hits the Mega Manectric. We have the special attack investment. 28 in special attack allows us to 3-hit KO a bulky Mega Manectric with Psychic. So that way we're winning that fight every single time. And we have Moonlight for recovery. If he doesn't bring the Pelipper, that's doing 50%. If he brings the Pelipper, it's doing 25%. But paired with leftovers is really, really cool. We can take a hit from Mimikyu, provided he's not setting up on us, and we can break its sub with Shadow Ball. HP Fire hits the Skarmory, HP Fire hits the Lucario, and then the Shadow Ball was on there. I wanted sub, I wanted something, but Shadow Ball was just so Delphox didn't wall us. Skuntank obviously hurts. But with leftovers and Moonlight, I'm not too worried about taking something like a Pursuit. Let me just double check this calc here really quickly. I don't think he'd bring. Oh, I gotta import this set. That's what I gotta do. I was wondering, I was like, that's not my Luna. That's not my Luna. There we go. So Skuntank. Like Choice Banded, so Choice Banded Pursuit does 70. But, like, if he's doing that much damage, then we know he's banded. So we can take one from full in case he does bring in something like the Skuntank on us. But Psychic hits a lot of his team outside of the Skuntank. Shadow Ball and HP Fire are for different mons that we just didn't want to get walled by. And like I said, that bulk does help us deal with a lot of his special attackers. And just based off of Luna's physical bulk, like that 120 defense and the HP does let us hit a few of his physically attacking mons as well, which is really, really cool. Obviously, things like Serena with U-turn will hurt, but we still have that, like I said, we still have that physical bulk and can Moonlight and take that, which is really, really cool. With our speed, we're outspeeding, like, uninvested Mamoswine. Pretty much a lot of his team, actually, we outspeed. We underspeed. We do outspeed uninvested Serena, and we do outspeed uninvested Skarmory. So I'd expect a little bit of speed on those. I don't know if it would be to outspeed uninvested Crest, but I do anticipate just a little bit of speed on those, just so that way they don't take away from their utility that they do have on the team. Next up here, really interesting set this week, and I like this set a lot. We're bringing Pineapple the Druddigon with the leftovers, the Rough Skin ability, Stealth Rock, Taunt, Rock Slide, and Dragon Claw. 4 in HP, 252 defense, 252 speed with an impish nature. Really weird set, but the Rough Skin helps with things like Kabutops. The Rough Skin helps with things like the Mimikyu, potentially even the Lucario. Leftovers for the recovery. I wanted to go Rocky Helmet. I wanted to go Rocky Helmet for the extra damage, but I felt the potential residual is a lot better. This speed allows us to outspeed uninvested Serena, and Skarmory, we outspeed uninvested Skarmory. We have a lot of speed on this thing to make sure we outspeed uninvested Skarmory, because if he has any more than that, then he's going to start losing off some of his bulk. So we're hopefully going to be faster than the Skarmory. We can go for the taunt and then get our rocks up in that thing's face. Rock Slide and Dragon Claw just does a lot to his team. Mega Manectric, Pelipper, Mamoswine, Mimikyu, Lucario. I mean, it just, Skarmory, obviously, we don't, like we have to taunt the Skarmory first off. We can't do anything to the Skarmory, but then Rock Slide and Dragon Claw just kind of do a number to his team, which I really, really do enjoy. Rough Skin is going to be helping the likes of Serena, the likes of Physical Skuntank, Kabutops, things like that. Leftovers, like I said, I needed that leftovers residual just to make sure, as much as I wanted that extra damage with Rocky Helmet, I think the Rough Skin is going to be doing enough, because Rough Skin, 1/8 of the 8, do I want to do Rocky Helmet? Do I want to do Rocky Helmet? Do I want to do Rocky Helmet? I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with leftovers right now. If I end up switching Rocky Helmet before the match, I'll let you guys know. We're battling in about an hour from now. So, wanted to get this team builder taken care of for you guys. Next up here, I love this Nidoqueen set. And let me pull open my calcs here really quickly just so I can tell you a little bit about it. So we have AV Nidoqueen, Sheer Force, Thunderbolt, Earth Power, Sludge Wave, and Ice Beam. We have the exact coverage to hit literally everything on his team. Max HP, 60 in defense, 124 special attack, 12 in special defense, 60 speed with a Calm Nature. This is another one of those Pokemon that I built like by myself, and I love it. I love it so much. I think it does really, really cool. So with its natural bulk, we're 4-hit KO'd by modest HP Ice from Mega Manectric. If he brings HP Ice on the Mega Manectric, we take those. Obviously, Thunderbolt and Volt Switch don't do anything. Signal Beam doesn't do anything if he brings the coverage. Overheat or something in the... I think he'd bring, like, Flamethrower or something instead of Overheat, but again, we take those absolutely 100% of the time. Earth Power hits that. Cool. With the special attack investments, we OHKO specially defensive Pelipper, like max HP, max Spadef. without a Wakan Berry. If he's got leftovers, then obviously, or if he's got the Wakan Berry, we 2-hit KO. If he doesn't have the Wakan Berry, we do Oko that thing through, or without the berry. Mimikyu, we Oko that with Sludge Wave, can't really do too much to us just because of our natural bulk. Skarmory, we do 2-hit KO that with Thunderbolt as well. With our bulk, we are also 3-hit KO'd by Life Orb Draco from Noivern, which is another thing that is really, really cool. I wanted hazards on this, but I ended up putting the rocks on the Druddigon just instead. The AV does help us out a lot with rocks. I mean, Nidoqueen just kind of goes in at this point. Nidoqueen just absolutely just does so much damage to this thing. So Earth Power hits the Mega Manectric, Thunderbolt hits the Pelipper, Sludge Wave, I believe, hits the Mammal. Let me double check what's doing the Mamoswine, actually. Let me see what's doing the most damage to that thing, just because I built this team like a week ago, and I just wanted to make sure. So Nidoqueen against Mamoswine. So yeah, Earth Power has a strong chance to 2-hit KO the Mamoswine. Obviously, we don't want to take a hit, but Earth Power, if he's not Life Orb, let me just double check something right here. If he's not Life Orb, Jolly Mamoswine has a 50% chance to hit us from full. If he's adamant, he can knock us out with Earthquake. If he's Life Orb, he can knock us out with Icicle Crash. But we do have a chance to live an Icicle Crash if he's max attack Jolly. So back to what I was talking about though with that. Sludge Wave hits the Mimikyu, Earth Power hits the Lucario, Thunderbolt hits the Skarmory, Ice Beam hits the Noivern, Ice Beam or Sludge Wave both hit the Serena, Earth Power hits the Skuntank, Earth Power hits the Delphox, and Thunderbolt hits the Kabutops. I really like Nidoqueen this week. I think she's going to put an absolute ton of work. I love this set. I think it is going to do fantastic. Just given just the overall like complexity of the build, I think it's going to be hard for him to determine whether or not we're like more offensive or more defensive. And then when he sees the power output, that's when it's going to be like, whoa, like this thing really does hurt. Just my 2 cents about that. This right here does help with his defensive mons a little bit. We are bringing Mega Defensive Smooch, the Scizor with the Technician ability Roost, Bullet Punch, Toxic, and Defog. So, what does this Pokemon do right here? This Pokemon is, I believe, 3-hit KO'd by defensive. I believe it is, let me just double check here. 3-hit KO'd. So between our HP and our natural defense, we're 3-hit KO'd by Adamant, Life Orb, Earthquake from Mamoswine. Can't really do too much to us outside of that, but just based off our physical bulk, it does help us deal with Lucario. Lucario needs to have elemental punches as well just to do for that. We obviously can't do too much in return, but we can Roost. We can Toxic some of his threats, such as the Serena, such as the Noivern, such as any Pokemon he feels very comfortable switching in on this thing. And then Defog is there just to remove any hazards that might plague our team late game. Not too worried about rocks in this matchup outside of Victini. Spikes are something I could definitely wear down my team after a bit. So being able to bring Smooch and go for that. The 4x weakness of fire is reduced if he does bring the rain, which is why I don't think he brings the rain, because then Mega Scizor just kind of dominates because he has no way of hitting me. Because the rain obviously nerfing the fire type moves that he could go for. But that, like I said, that spread right there is for Adamant, Life Orb, Mamoswine, take those physical hits, takes hits from Lucario. And then the extra bulk right there in special defense just to take the special hits a little bit better. Obviously in the rain, he won't be going for things like Overheat. He can go for things like Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, all that good stuff. And that helps us just kind of shrug off the damage right there. Last but not least, Firepower, the Victini, holding the leftovers with the Victory Star ability. Substitute, Blue Flare, Charge Beam, and Shadow Ball. I would anticipate he expects something like a Scarf, maybe like a spec set, maybe like a Scarf special set, and would have ways of dealing with that. So sub and leftovers do give us a little bit of recovery, and a lot of we've got 3 leftovers used on the team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially when Luna's there to sponge more hits. So with the Moonlight and the leftovers, that'll be good. Druddigon and Victini don't have reliable recovery, so that's how we do that with the leftovers. Our speed is to outspeed Timid, or Jolly Mimikyu, excuse me. Everything else on his team, we are slower than, or we are faster than. Naturally, but that's what that speed investment is for. We can't outspeed Mega Manectric, we can't outspeed Noivern, and we cannot outspeed the Delphox. So I'm set to outspeed the fastest thing on his team. I imagine like Skuntank is a switch into this monster, just because like he can Pursuit Trap so very, very easily. And if we're behind a sub, and he goes for like a Pursuit or something, then we, like, the sub takes the damage for us, which is absolutely fine. Charge Beam is really cool. 70% chance to raise the special attack by 1 with the Victory Star. We're like really never missing Charge Beams. 1% chance to miss a Charge Beam. And then nothing really comes in on a +1 Blue Flare or a +1 Shadow Ball, or even if we just keep Charge Beaming up. So like Mega Manectric doesn't want to take a +1 Blue Flare. Pelipper doesn't want to get charge beamed on twice. You know, Mamoswine doesn't want to take a +1 blue flare, even with the thick fat. Mimikyu doesn't want to take a +1 Shadow Ball. Lucario doesn't want to take a +1 blue flare. Half these Pokemon don't want to take the moves to begin with, but if we get a special attack boost with the charge beam, that's when we start putting out some incredible damage. So I think with hazards, I think with wearing things down, I think with our defensive core of Druddigon, Cresselia, and Mega Scissor, I think between bulky offensive Nidoqueen, I think with Scarf Magnezone, and I think with Sub Victini, I think we do have the Pokemon to take this thing down. And this has been a really long team builder, but I'm really into this. I'm really into this battle this week, guys. I really hope it goes well. I hope you guys are excited. That's going to be it for the team builder, though. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, show some love in the like button down below. Of course, if you guys are new, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. Don't forget to be great and do great. I'm going to let this outro bang. I'm going to talk to you all soon. Later.